Hi, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Soul Authentic Podcast. I'm Lynn. I'm a healer, an educator, coach, and doctor of Chinese medicine. Today, we're going to be talking about living in hyper yang and returning to yin, because that is what I'm just so lit up about to talk about today. These days, in these times, in these moments when life just feels like it's just going so fast, when there's more that's just getting piled on, when we feel like we're overwhelmed and we're in the overdoing and we feel like we can't stop. How many of us have felt like we just have to push down those emotions? We just have to figure out how to just take a moment and handle the stress, manage the stress, but we're actually not getting to the root of that. And we feel like we're overwhelmed, we feel like we're overdoing, and we feel like we just want more ease, we want more grace, we want that pressure to be lifted off our shoulders and to just be able to receive life and enjoyment and relaxation and calm. How many of us have felt that way? I know that we're out there because I definitely was that person. And there's times still when I have to confront that part of me, and I have to, again, really meet that part of me that is still living and operating from that hyper yang, because it's not just on you. It's not your fault. It's not all because you decided to be that way. Partly, it is about taking responsibility for the daily actions that we do, and also our responsibilities. Like, so many of us have work and family and our careers and taking care of our health. All of those things require energy. And at the same time, we also have to note and acknowledge that there is systemic factors. There are oppressive patriarchal systems, late stage capitalism, that literally gets us in these modes of pushing, producing, overworking ourselves in order to produce value. How many of us have felt like they had to produce, they had to show up and give something to give value? I know that was me. I know that I fall sometimes into those patterns again of the people pleasing, of wanting to prove my worth. But I'm telling you here right now that you are worthy regardless of what anyone says, what anyone thinks, of just period. You are worthy, period. And living in hyper yang is not of service, is not in your best interest long term. It's not sustainable. It's not sustainable in nature. So let's look at nature and how nature would approach this condition, this way, this balance, this imbalance, right? If nature is in hyper yang, similar to if it was daytime all the time, if the sun was shining all the time, and there was no night, there was no time of rest, there's no time of going inwards, it would be incredibly exhausting. And many of us who thrive on the sun, I mean, I was born in California. That's extremely sunny all the time in many places. Granted, there are times of rain and colder moments of the year, but there's a time and a need for us to go within those cycles, those natural cycles of going more inwards. Those colder times of contraction are actually really necessary for rest, for regeneration, for renewal. And so in nature, if it is hyper yang, it actually depletes the resources, the nutrients. And I'm thinking about soil right now, because soil, in order to have a garden that's going to produce all of our fruits and veggies and all of this abundance, there has to be this foundation of fertile soil. And how do we cultivate that fertile soil? We give it the nutrients, enough water, sun, the right placement. We cultivate the soil, microbiome, all of those things in order for us to create a really solid foundation for growth, for actualizing its purpose, which our garden is there for providing sustenance. And we give to that, right? And it takes and it receives our energy, and it will then create and give to us. And so it becomes this ever giving cycle of life. But let's bring that back to the body and our lives. If we are living in that constant cycle of hyper yang, we're constantly giving and giving and giving and never receiving, and we have a block in receiving, fully being received, allowing somebody into our life, allowing somebody to hear our problem, to be held by that person. If we block that, then we are running dry of our own inner resources. Then we're not allowing the reception of nutrients to land in our body to give us more energy to be yang. Because when we live in our yin, when we sprinkle drops of yin in our life, that actually nourishes our soil, so that way we can come back to yang. We can come back to living in our purpose and creating and providing for our families and showing up and getting out there and doing what we want to do in our life, accomplishing our goals. All of those things require yang energy, but yang also thrives when it receives yin. When yin is there. Yang thrives when yin is ready to receive. So this is really important, because living in hyper yang might look like burnout, might look like running on overdrive. It might look like suppressing your emotions. So just notice if any of the things that I'm saying stand out to you, because we are here, if you're listening to this, to shift that narrative, to shift those energetic patterns. Because what's happening is, consciously we might know, like your brain, you might be thinking, oh yeah, I need to make those shifts. I need to do more time of rest and relaxation and enjoying life. But energetically, underneath the surface, we might be operating from limiting stories, societal conditioning, the habit patterns that keep us stuck in those cycles. So how can we then shift those patterns and reframe those patterns and release the energetic blocks to feeling more nourished, to feeling like we can receive, to feeling like we are just worthy just as we are? So I can tell you a little bit about how I did it. I did a lot of inner work, a lot of hypnosis work, a lot of meditation, a lot of journaling, a lot of working with mentors, teachers, people who were expanding my awareness to tell me that it is okay to receive. And that receiving, getting into the yin, nourishing yin at every level, so individually, so on a health level, physical level, eating better, taking more time for rest, slowing down, meditating, exercising, doing more of a yin movement exercise. Qigong was so incredibly helpful for me. Mindful movement, free flow movement are all things that could be extremely powerful in getting us back into yin. And then mentally, emotionally, I had to confront, what are these limiting beliefs and stories that I'm holding about myself and my worth, about receiving? And then emotionally, I had to process the grief around deciding that I'm not worthy to receive because of an experience that had happened before, or emotions of frustration of not receiving, of not asking for what I really needed. I had to process those and really sit with that and learn and listen to the emotions, because if I didn't, I was just suppressing them. I was pushing them away and resisting their wisdom. And spiritually, I also had to, and this is something I'm learning a lot recently, is accepting the change, is accepting and trusting in the movement of energy, and remembering that there is something guiding me that's so much bigger. And the same thing applies to you as well, that you are also supported and guided so much by something so much greater. You can say nature, source, but remember that you are so guided. And so if any of these things really light up for you, I am currently taking clients for Return to Yin coaching, and it goes into 1 to 3 months, individual one-on-one, personalized coaching specifically for you and what you're working with. And if you're stepping out of being in overdrive, the overwhelm, the stress, if you're just somebody that needs to remember how to receive, if you know like there is some self-worth blocks in receiving because somewhere down the line I learned that it wasn't safe to receive, it wasn't safe to be seen, it wasn't safe to just be myself, I can help and support you through that in unraveling those blocks because I did it myself. And when you unblock those energetic patterns that keep you stuck, that keep you from really showing up in your life, that keep you from not receiving life and enjoyment and pleasure, it really stunts us in so many different ways. And so I can be a support and a facilitator for you in your transformation of that, in returning to yin, because right now in the world, we need more yin. We need more drops of yin sprinkled in our lives so that way it ripples out into our communities, so that way our children can remember that, yeah, I can receive because I deserve to receive. I can receive because I am worthy, period. May we continue passing that on like a prayer, like a strong knowing in everyone around us, because we all deserve that. And so I want to thank you for tuning into this. If you are living on hyper yang, know that you're not alone. I was there with you. Yeah, I was in that journey with you, and I'm here to be a guide to support you. So reach out to me. You can reach out to me via email or go to my website, drlynnlove.com, and contact me there. I'd be happy to talk to you, support you, or even offer you a free 15-minute consult. So I'm looking forward to hearing from all of you. Let me know what you thought as well about what I shared, if you resonated with anything, and I look forward to hearing from you. Thank you, everyone, for tuning into the podcast, and I hope you have a really blessed day wherever you are.